Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace, and stopped for a minute there. I just went to the KFC and got myself a pot pie to go home and eat. It's probably around 1:22. Anyway, and I haven't had lunch, so I wanted to talk about this. The other day I was talking about gluttony. Speaking of, I'm not much on eating myself. Eating much food. Okay. No. But so I'm not, I'm a little distracted, can you tell? So I'm not one who is, I don't drink, so I'm not one, what you would call a glutton. But it was on my mind recently. And I looked it up. I mean, where was the first place you had heard glutton? The word glutton, or somebody called a glutton, or gluttony, whatever it was. Where was the first place? For me, when I was young, I'm 62. It was I think in church. Okay, why are you at driving school? Oh Lord, let me get around you. Yeah. So, actually, I had to run away, but so that's scary. Go back there to learn how to parallel park, but like that one didn't know what they should do when they got right there. And they saw me coming, so anyway, that's a bad turn right there as it is. With the shrubs so big, the trees. Man, they had to fix it. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling today. But yeah, I had this on my mind about people who are, I hardly ever use that word, so how would you say it? Gluttonous? Really don't know. In my lifetime, I would only remember hearing it when I was young, and it was somehow associated with church. Maybe it was in church that I heard it. But, now these days, people think that that's all it's about, is eating and drinking. Well, me, I always thought it was just about eating. So, so it's kind of like that you don't body shame people. So maybe people are connecting it. Okay, I had to trim a clip, so I had to stop anyway. But I don't know where I left off, where I clipped it off, and where it met. So I was talking about gluttony. In the first place I'd ever heard it was probably when I was a really young child. And then I didn't know that it was about drinking. I don't drink. I don't know anybody. I noticed that on TV. I never used to like to watch TV. I was more of a computer person. And, well, when I was young, I really didn't care for it then either. Before computers. I didn't. But I've been watching more now. And one of the things I noticed is how much people drink on these shows. Like as if that's a norm. Wine, basically. Quite a bit of it is wine, but some of them is more hard liquor. And, but the way that they put it, I wonder if that's healthy for it to be shown so much as in what they say about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to repeat it, but yeah. This makes me question, but anyway, the whole thing about gluttony, it's been on my mind lately because, the people who, like I said, I don't know if it's gluttonous, because I hadn't heard it since I was so young, but, you can watch videos, whatever platform, and you see people, who really, they do that whole thing of, they're e-beggars. They don't call themselves that. They'll say that they don't have money for groceries. That's the big thing. This month, August, it's 11 years I've had a YouTube channel, my original YouTube channel. I have more than that one now, but 11 years, and I've seen it pretty much every year. It's like it's 'tis the season. It comes back around where people are e-begging. Their favorite thing is to say they don't have money for groceries. They don't have money for to eat. And when, for some of them, there's all kinds of evidence that is not true. And because they continue it and say that over and over and over, months, years, however long. And then they'll do things like grocery shopping videos. They'll do things like cooking meals that are expensive meals. Or they'll show their groceries and they'll say what they're going to use with which meat. Some of them go to food banks and they're going to say how much they're going to spend on what meals. And it's like I've calculated some of the stuff. If they go and buy like $40, it was $42.14. I won't forget the number anytime soon. For a side salad for just 2 people, and that's it. And that was it. Just made two servings, one for each person. That's it, $42. I don't know. And then if they had an entree meat, what they had was $38 and some change. And then you have whatever they're drinking, whatever else they're having. And there's somebody who's saying that they don't have money for groceries. And when they get it, they go and buy the expensive stuff. Make the expensive stuff. I don't know. But when I went and did a Google search, let me get back to this. I did a Google search in the AI overview about this, and one of the things I didn't know was this kind of behavior actually leads people to become poor. That's exactly what it said. The kind of mentality they develop. As far as that they want a lot of food, food, wine, drink, whatever. I mean, wine and stuff like that I can understand. I just never thought of it as food. Never in my life, really. Could somebody have a love for food? And there's all kinds of love for money and all that, and all the things shiny and expensive stuff, but food. I guess they develop that mentality of that if they're going to beg for money for food, they're going to have the expensive stuff, and that's what they want. And maybe somehow, some way, they've convinced themselves that they don't. Like I said, they don't call themselves e-beggars. They don't call themselves grifters. They con their audience, to send them money and all that. But somehow they justify it in their minds that they deserve the big, the expensive stuff. And they buy it. Although some of them might, somebody catch them on, call them out on it. And so then the next time they'll go and say, oh, somebody sent me a few dollars here and another person a few dollars there. So this is what I'm going to buy. And they buy the cheap stuff. So, they put out the front this. But they don't buy expensive stuff. Well, you already kind of told on yourself by showing it before then. Some people don't forget that easily, but they're not that con. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up.